Good morning, everybody. My name is Hikmat Hojeibane. I'm the CTO for Stent Solution. And today, I would like to present to you and introduce you to a technology that we believe is unique in the way it approaches structural heart disease. It's different than whatever is out there, and I hope you will also find it the same way. So mitral regurgitation, valvular regurgitation in general, is a very popular and very prevalent disease for a population that's over 75 years old. Mitral regurgitation in particular has over almost 10% of the population over 75 years old. And the survival rate, the 4-year survival rate, is about less than 50%, significantly low. Similarly, for tricuspid regurgitation, prevalence is about 6%, and with a first-year mortality rate of about 42%, which is really within the first year of diagnosis. It's still a significantly unmet need, and the reason for that is because surgery today is the gold standard. However, 80% of the population is not eligible for surgery, and the reason why they're not eligible because there's a mismatch between the technologies that are being developed today and the population that is in need in this type of treatment. Transcatheter mitral valve regurgitation is about 6 million patients that are actually today eligible for those type of treatments for transcatheter regurgitation, transcatheter treatments for valvular regurgitation. However, they're not also eligible for transcatheter procedures, and the reason, again, because there are limitations and the technologies that are being developed today do not address the actual anatomy of the patient. Surgery, again, is still the main procedure, but however, in more recent years, transcatheter replacement had been, transcatheter mitral valve replacement has been up and coming and has generated some better outcome than transcatheter repair, which involves a clip. However, all these technologies still have major limitations, which I show here, and that's why it limits the adoption of this technology to a larger pool of patients, to 80 or 85% of the patients that could be eligible for these type of treatments, but they're not being treated with this technology. And why is that? There are many technical and clinical challenges that are facing these technologies that they have to overcome. First of all is the annular geometry of the mitral valve. It tends to be very variable, it tends to be dynamic in motion, and it tends to be oval in shape. So the implant has to be able to address this type of disease and then prevent any type of leakage, paravalvular leakage, or through the valve. Another major limitation is there's a track called the LVOT, which is a conduit that transports blood from the ventricle into the aorta. And that conduit tends to be obstructed by many of these new technologies that are in development today. And last, most important thing is that the fact that the transcatheter approach today the technologies utilize the approach of compressing a valve to load it into a system. When you compress a metallic structure, you are limited in terms of diameter that you're able to compress the stent. Therefore, you end up with a diameter that's pretty significantly large. Some of these devices are in the upward of 34 and higher French, and they cause complications. They take a long time to do the procedure, undo extra fluoroscopy to the patient. So Stent Solution has developed a next-generation device that we call the Cornelis valve, and the Cornelis valve addresses all of these limitations that I've shown before. It has a frame, it has a unique structure and some elements I will explain in a second. It has a frame that is conformable to the anatomy. It's a frame that can manage and provide some good coaptation in different anatomies. It also has the ability of a design that has the ability to limit and not obstruct the LVOT, which is a significant conduit, as I said, coming out of the ventricle to left ventricle into the aorta. And also, it is the way it's mounted onto the system is unique in the sense that that it is actually loaded in a helical fashion onto the system. And you can imagine a helical structure is going to be a lot more navigatable and trackable than a compressed structure, which makes it unique and different than anything that's out there being developed today. And another significant thing is that it doesn't matter what valve size you use. You can use a large valve or a small valve. It's still going to have the same small diameter, which is a significant advantage of this technology, especially when you start treating larger and larger valves, particularly going to a tricuspid regurgitation area, for example. This video shows how actually the valve is loaded onto the system in a helical fashion. As you can see, it's loaded in a helical and ribbon-like fashion. And that's what makes this technology unique and different than anything else out there. That's why we think it's going to be truly a next-generation device that's going to propel us into the next era of transcatheter treatment for regurgitation, valve regurgitation. So the valve is tracked to the annulus. It's deployed naturally in a circular fashion because that's where it wants to go. And then it's locked together very easily with the system as shown here. It also has a structure, the metallic structure that allows it to be conformable to the annulus, and it has an good anchoring positioning mechanism, and it also has a mechanism to prevent paravalvular leakage in different anatomies and valvular disease. I'm sorry. So we've done animal testing, benchtop, and feasibility testing to demonstrate all these points, and we were able to successfully demonstrate that you can deploy this valve fairly quickly and easily within a few minutes, actually, once you reach the annulus. So it doesn't require a positioning in the middle of the annulus. It's not, the precision does not have to be that high because what you have to do is go on only one edge of the annulus, and the valve will deploy around the circumference of that annulus. And you can see from these videos that we have demonstrated that we can have a good positioning and locking inside the annulus. We also have good valve functionality, and you can see that the LVOT is not being blocked, and that the valve is functioning properly with no regurgitation, excellent hemodynamic performance. So where we are today, we have used our seed funding. We have been using that seed funding in order to finalize the design, and in order to, we have already assembled a very strong technical team, and we have also secured IP for this technology. And we have begun strategy to how to approach dealing with regulatory bodies, FDA, and what type of clinicals. And we are looking for Series A funding to propel us into the next phase, next stage of verification, completion of verification, and securing regulatory approvals for starting of clinical trials in the US or outside US, and the execution of early feasibility trial in the US. So in summary, I'd like to say this technology is really different and unique, and the way it is loaded, the way it actually works with the annulus geometries and variation of the annulus, of the anatomies. It's a technology that I think can be applied to not only to mitral valve regurgitation, but also to tricuspid, because its ability to be loaded onto the same system, a low-profile system that is trackable and that results in much less complication, bleeding than the current devices out there that are limited by the way that these valves are being loaded. So we believe that this technology can be a breakthrough technology going forward, and then we'll be able to treat both populations, the mitral regurgitation as well as tricuspid regurgitation population. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions or interested to discuss learning more about this technology, please do not hesitate to reach out to one of us. Thank you.